All right, Jesse. It's the Lions, man. It's time to come into the Lions. And by the way, I definitely want to see if you two could actually have a debate show sometime this week. I think that would be interesting. But, okay, so going into this game, right, and I mean, really just based off of the performance that you had against the Packers, I'm seeing right now that the X-ray for Debo did come back negative. It does appear that he is going to play. He's going to play through it. Does this change your perspective and your confidence level whatsoever? That's the first part of this question, especially since it shows that you guys have struggled when he is not out there. And then number two, how are you going to beat the Detroit Lions? What's the game plan going into it? And just your final score prediction and take.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you're missing a big horse like Deebo Samuel, it definitely can be a situation where things get tense. But what's interesting is the 49ers last year missed Deebo Samuel for multiple games, and they put up tons of points and didn't lose any one of those games. This year, they went 0-3 during the regular season without Deebo, but also were missing Trent Williams in those games. So was it Deebo? Was it Trent? Was it the combination? Those are both big losses, and I think Deebo's certainly a big loss, but I think he's a bigger loss when it happens in the middle of a game because a game plan can be built around Deebo, and I think that's what we saw in this game. Kyle Shanahan, if I have any gripes against him, he's a hell of a coach, but he is not the best at bending his game plans once he gets into it. He comes out with a game plan, he sticks with it. So much so that Jawan Jennings, to start the second half, ran the ball as if he was Deebo Samuel. All 4.740 of Jawan Jennings. I don't know what the hell that was. He literally said it was a Ron Burgundy moment where he just called the play and forgot Deebo wasn't there. I don't know how you do that in a playoff game with your life on the line, but that's exactly what happened. So here's my thoughts. They're going to build a game plan that's not centered around Deebo Samuel, whether he plays or he doesn't. If he does play and he leaves early or is unable to finish that game, they'll be fine because they game planned around it. And if he doesn't play, I think they'll be fine as well just because they have other talent. And I think Purdy is going to have himself a day against this Lions defense. The way they get it done is through the air in this one. I understand that CMC is phenomenal, the best running back in the game, arguably. But Brock Purdy coming off of a rain game, this game is going to be fantastic weather. That pass defense is piss poor for the Detroit Lions, and I expect Purdy to have a little bit of a chip on his shoulder in this game and go out and get it done. I think on his right arm is how they get it done against this Lions team, and that's what I expect to happen. I'm going to go... I'm trying to remember what I think I said 31-23 earlier in the week, so I'll stick with that score. We'll go 31-23, 49ers.
Bold prediction. Bold prediction. Mike, thoughts on this? And obviously, let me know where your interests, where your rooting interest is. That's number one. And then number two, just your overall prediction and take on this game coming up.
Yeah, I heard Jesse say, obviously, we're going to have Purdy have a chip on his. He better. I mean, I don't think he had a too great of a game. Now, I was reading the chat here, he did it while it mattered. And yeah, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that's true. He did it while it mattered, but he needs to play better. He absolutely is. If he wants to play this Lions team, I'm probably higher on the Lions than anybody on this panel. I think the Lions are actually a pretty darn good team. Like when I'm looking at the stats, like Jared Goff and Brock Purdy, they're pretty kind of similar. Now I think obviously Purdy's got a better QBR, but like interceptions to touchdown ratio, yards, they're pretty right there on there. Now I think obviously if the Lions are going to be contending here, they got to run that damn ball. Like, they got to run the ball. The Arizona Cardinals, when we played, you guys, we put over 200 yards, and we've been hearing about this great defense, stopping the run, they're so good at stopping. The Arizona Cardinals, that's right, put over 200 yards on the 49ers the last time we played. That's James Conner, Amari DeMarcado, Kyler Murray, everybody. Michael Carter, we just went ahead and just got him off the waivers not too long ago. So if there's any keys to success for the Lions to beat you guys, I think it's actually there. I think there is what is it called? There is a weakness there. There absolutely is. I thought you guys were untouchable. After seeing the Green Bay Packers game, I still do think you're going to win. Although, obviously, my hatred and my haterade is going to kick in here and say, I don't know. I truly want the Lions to pull this off. The Lions needs to come out here and run that damn ball down your throat. And that's Montgomery as well as Gibbs. If they do that and let Goff just do the very bare minimum like Brock Purdy might be able to, I think they have a fair chance. I think you guys will win. Do I want that? Hell no, I don't want you guys to win. I want to see the Lions go, but I do think that they're going to give you a much tougher effort than people are expecting. I'm going to say 49ers win, unfortunately, 32-29. I know such a weird number, but I'm going to say the 49ers win.
32-29.
Okay.
It's all right, Norb. I know exactly who you're pulling for. What's your take on this game? What are you thinking? So you're muted, Norb.
All right, I keep doing that, saving my energy here. All right, so Lions at Niners. No doubt, you know what team I'm rooting for. Now, can they get it done? Let's see. Let's really look at this, right? Lions looking pretty good in that comfy dome of theirs. So now they got to get to that slippery, unpredictable, kind of questionable grass surface that everybody seems to struggle on in the 49ers territory. Like you said, you guys made the point, they're not very good on the road. I'd love to say that the Lions are a fantastic team that can withstand anything, but hell, the Seahawks beat them twice in the last 2 meetings, so how good can they really be? However, despite that, I still think they have a chance. And if they do, this is how they're going to do it. Because the reason the Seahawks have beaten them the last 2 times is because their head coach screwed it up. He screwed it up. And I'm going to bring it around back to that point I said earlier about how the Packers screwed it up. The Lions coach, as we all know, is very aggressive, right? He's the kind of go for it on 4th down. We're not kicking the field goal. We're going to go for it. We're biting kneecaps. Screw all that field goal stuff. We're going to go aggressive. Well, that's the reason why they lost to us. It was an overtime game. Last year it was like a shootout. This year it was an overtime game, and we won it in the final walk-off Lockett touchdown. We shouldn't have won that game, though. They could have beaten us easy throughout that game if they had just settled for the points. So, number one thing, if I were to give any advice to the Lions, is that if you have a chance to put points on the board in the red zone, do not be stupid like the Packers. Do not be stupid like yourselves when you play the Seahawks, and take the freaking points. Kick the field goal. It's not sexy. It's not kneecap biting, but take the damn points, because you will be lucky to get that shot later. And then you'll be losing by 3 and go, God, how'd we lose by 3? Oh my God, what happened? Because you didn't take the stupid points, dumbass. So they got to be smart enough to take what you can get, especially when you're on the road against the 49ers. Okay? I know, because we played them and we lose a lot to them. So you take the points. All right. Secondly, the other key to this, they got to run the football. You said it, Mike. They got to run the football, and they have a good offensive line. They've got good running backs. These guys can be productive, but they're gonna have to stick and commit to the run. Yeah. They can't get away from it, and they certainly can't get into doing. They can't go Packers on these guys. Just don't be the NFC North, for God's sake. Don't turn the ball over. Don't make dumb throws. Protect the football. If you do those basic things, they will be in this game. It's going to be close, all right? The 49ers scare me. They're the better team. But the Lions can beat the better team if they just execute and play smart. And if they can do those small things. They're going to have to get pressure on Purdy, because I think Purdy, once you get him a little rattled, he's not the same guy as when he's comfortable, got the lead, CMC's rushing for 100 plus, then everything goes Brock's way. But you get things where they get behind. You get them around. Maybe there's a sack. Maybe there's a turnover. Maybe there's a sack fumble. One of those types of things. Then I think, the game changes. And I don't know, Debo, if he's not 100%, that might be something that might help slide into the Lions' favor.
Yep,
but if you have 100% Debo, man, all these things I'm saying might all be for naught, because, damn, the 49ers good when you got all you guys healthy. That's why it pisses me off the Packers screwed up, because Deebo's even in the game, for God's sake. How can you blow it when Deebo Samuel's not in the game, and you blew it, Packers? I'm sorry, I'm a broken record.
It's going to be a pissed off Debo. It's going to be a pissed off Debo, too, because Deebo Samuel and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson had a back and forth week 6 and week 7 all over Twitter, all over social media, calling each other out, and now they're going to face off in this game, and Rams fans know very well that the disrespect for Deebo Samuel doesn't go in your favor when Deebo Samuel comes out ready to play. So if he is healthy, I expect a massive game from Deebo Samuel.
It's a shoulder, right? It's a shoulder injury?
Same shoulder that he missed earlier this season, but earlier this season it was a hairline fracture. This one, there's no fracture.
Negative, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, so I think it's going to be close. We're doing score predictions now. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm not gonna concede like some of my other brethren here and say, well, I want them to win, but I don't think they will. I'm gonna say I want the Lions to come in here and win, and I believe they could do it. And I think it's gonna be close, and they're gonna win by this score. It's gonna be the Lions 30, the 49ers 27, and they win by a field goal. Not because they kicked it at the end, it's because they kicked it earlier. And they took the points in the first quarter, and they go, look, that's a good thing we kicked it on 4th and 1 at the 15 because we won by a field goal. Hallelujah. We're going to the Super Bowl. There you go. That's my take.
Love it. Jake, what you got, man?
Well, come on. I have to step in after that. I can't match that. What the hell, man?
I'm just a crazy lunatic ranting. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Oh, man. Well, all right. So let me... All right, I'm going to try and do this without being a salty asshole because this is how I feel about the Lions right now. I want to be very honest right now. You watch March Madness, right? All of you guys, right? You know the number 1 seed, okay? Well, I truly feel like the Rams were essentially like the 1 seed in that area where they would have played the Niners. And the Lions were like that 16 seed that they're so happy they finally won. And then they play the team that just had a huge upset as well. And they beat them because they're not very good. And then they get absolutely trounced in the next, which then makes the pathway for the other 1 seed that much easier. I see it all the time as a Kansas fan when they get knocked out. It's always like, oh, yay, we won. And then they get absolutely clapped in the next round. That's, I guess, my real concern about the Lions. They played the Rams. Then they played the Bucks. I mean, the 49ers would have beat the Bucks by 4 touchdowns. That is not a good Buccaneers team. That's not a good Buccaneers team. The Lions could lose to any team in the league right now because their secondary is that bad. And I understand it's a 1-game thing, but I don't understand. Like when I'm trying to go through it, I don't know how there's a scenario that they win. Like, I can't figure it out. That secondary is so bad. And in order for you to really believe that, you have to believe that Brock Purdy can't simply make good throws that for guys that are open. I mean, like, either that or they're going to hold the whole time and swallow the whistle. And we already saw that in the second half of the Rams game. But they can't do it the whole game, right? So I'm looking at, like, their schedule throughout the year. And keep in mind, Jesse, I've said this. The Lions were my pick to go to the Super Bowl and play Burrow and the Bengals. Burrow gets hurt, changes everything. This Lions team isn't as good as I thought they would be. They're not bad. They got an explosive offense. I don't know where the hell they'll be after Ben Johnson leaves them, but they got an explosive offense right now. They got a great offensive line. Jared Goff is Joe Montana when he's protected. When he's not, though, he's a lawn chair. And that's my concern. Is that every single issue about Jared Goff, okay? Yes, I'm still salty a little bit. Every issue about Jared Goff, because I watched him since 2016, okay? And I'll tell you right now, he's got all the arm talent in the world. When he's protected, he's unstoppable. Like, truly. Like, I can't even believe, like, when you're watching him, you're like, Jared Goff's one of the best quarterbacks in the league when he's, protected. And then people, step in and be like, well, so is every other quarterback. Like, nope, not really. But here's the thing. I mentioned it earlier. 56% of his throws are over the middle. What do you think the 49ers do better than anybody? They take away the middle throw. So now you have to have Goff going to the boundary. Well, you don't want to have Goff do that. And now he has to do that when you're telling me Arik Armstead is going to be in his face. When you have Nick Bosa coming off the outside, you have Chase Young, you have the blitzing Dre Greenlaw or Fred Warner. They're so athletic. And then I'm not even, like, that's the thing. I'm so hung up on the defense that, like, I haven't even talked about the offense yet. I just, like, I'm just not understanding. And I'm rooting for the Lions this weekend, right? Like, I'm not trying to sit here and I'm not biased. I'm not a 49er fan. I'm quite the opposite. But I, like, genuinely football-wise don't know how the Lions win this game. If this was at Ford Field, okay, maybe. But I just, like, again, going back to their offense, I mean, yeah, okay, the Lions can score, and we know that, but the 49ers can score. And the 49ers can get that one stop that the Lions defense simply cannot do. And, you know, they're holding out like, oh, you know, we beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the divisional round. You gave up over 340 yards to Baker Mayfield. You gave up, you know, you would have given up 500 to Stafford the way he was going. I mean, this secondary is the worst secondary in the history of the playoffs. I think this is by far the worst secondary I've ever seen in the history of the playoffs. Forget about the fact that they're playing in the title game. In championship weekend, there's never been a worse secondary. This is absolutely pedestrian. And when you have guys like Brandon Ayuk who are just monsters, when you have that ability, the footwork, the release package he has, like I'm watching that, George Kittle, like their best chances for Kirby Joseph to do what he did with TJ Hawkinson and Tyler Higbee. Because I mean, George Kittle, Debo's going to be back. And I haven't even talked about Christian McCaffrey, who's the best damn running back in the league and was up there for MVP. I think really, if I was going to give the Lions any sort of chance, Trent Williams went down with an injury. If Trent Williams went down with an injury, I'd say the Lions would have a chance. But one, we don't root for injuries here. Let me be clear. And two, I don't think that's going to happen, and I hope it doesn't happen. Because the thing is, this 49ers team can be beaten, and they'll likely be beaten by a team like the Ravens, you know, potentially be beaten. They're not losing to the Lions, guys. I'm sorry. And I'll admit, like, if they lose, like, I'll come on here, like, I'll admit that, and I'll be happy doing it, right? But I just don't see it, and I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys because I want it to happen. Like, football wise, it doesn't make sense to me. And I totally, like, I respect your guys' opinions, obviously, but I'm trying to go through it, genuinely trying to find like a way that this could happen. And I understand Lions have a good offensive line, but like Tampa wasn't getting as much pressure as the Rams were getting. And the Rams don't have a premier pass rusher. Like, obviously Aaron Donald's great, but you just triple team him, right? Triple team, quadruple team. If the other guys aren't winning, there you go. You just won the battle at the line of scrimmage. Tampa wasn't even getting more than that. San Francisco is going to be something that they haven't seen. Like, they haven't seen that since, well, the Ravens game. I mean, very quick, guys. Do you remember the score of the Ravens game on the road?
It's like 30-something to 6.
38 to 6. That, I mean, I'm not saying that's where it's going to go, but I'm going to say final score here. I'm going to take the 49ers to win 34-13.
Damn.
I really do. It is a nightmare matchup for the Lions. And if I'm wrong again, I'll admit it. But it is a nightmare matchup for the Lions. The nice storybook road is about to end, and it's not going to be pretty.